Well, I finally managed to get the pipe off. This is the offending end. That clip is just not working properly. That one, complete contrast. That one's fine. I now need to buy another one of these if they're available. If they're not, I guess I need to buy some fuel pipe and some connectors. So it turns out you can get this pipe. I had to search on the part number and the VIN number, and I found one. £186, and it was going to take 10 to 15 working days to get delivered. I think that's bloody ridiculous. I kept searching, managed to find a few more. Price was still around about 100 quid, and still 10 to 15 working days for delivery, which I still think is bloody stupid given what it is. So then I started looking at these connectors, because there's nothing wrong with this connector. There's nothing wrong with the pipe. It's this connector that's the problem, because it's permanently open. So then I started wondering whether I could replace just the connector, and turns out this one is just this one is just held in like that at the moment. Turned out that yes, I could get this connector removed, and it was ridiculously tight. I mean, no exaggeration, so tight I thought I was going to break it. But once I'd gotten this out, I then started wondering, can I get just this connector? Turns out that you can. The question as to whether I can just replace that connector, well, I guess I'm going to find out. Well, it turns out that you can replace just the one connector. However, this is a plastic pipe. It's plastic covered in rubber, and I'm not sure whether you're supposed to replace these connectors or not. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. It is extremely tight. I've put it back on. It was difficult to get on. I'm 99% sure that it's never going to come off again. However, just to have that belts and braces reassurance that it's never going to come off, I am going to double up and put a fuel clip on there, just to be sure. Okay, so that's the fuel pipe back on, tank back in place. The tank's 3 fixings done up about 90%. Okay, ignition time. Now, I have already checked under the tank before bolting the tank into place, just to make sure that there's no leaks from either end of that pipe, and so far so good. Nothing under the bike. I guess the test will be, is she going to start? Well, she hiccuped a little bit right in the beginning there, probably just whilst the fuel was getting back through the system, but she's running well now and there's no leaks. I am going to leave her overnight, and I'm going to check back tomorrow, make sure that we've still got no leaks, and then it'll be time to take her out for a test ride. Well, so far so good. She appears to be running really well. She certainly feels like the bike that I have come to know, the bike that I have come to trust, although I must admit, kind of feel like I've lost a little bit of faith in the bike, and I guess in a way that's to be expected. If you have a vehicle that you come to rely upon, come to know, to trust, you have confidence in it, you start to think it'll never let you down, and then it does. I guess you could be forgiven for losing a little bit of faith, a little bit of confidence in the vehicle. And I wonder if I will be the same with my 125, because my 125 isn't running right at the moment, hasn't been for the last 6 months. But I will get to the bottom of it. I have no doubt I will get to the bottom of my 125's problems. And I'm sure I will get my confidence back in my 125. And it's not my confidence as such, it's confidence in these vehicles, because it has been quite the year with my bikes. 6 months ago, both bikes were off the road. I remember making a video saying, yes, I've got them back, feel so good, etc. Only I never really got the 125 back for long. And Lauren here, well, she became my reliable motorbike. Well, not just reliable motorbike, she became my most reliable vehicle. Am I wondering if it'll happen again? Yeah, it's natural too. Maybe not the fuel pipe problem, but am I going to break down again? Someone said to me on my last video that's one of their worries, is going out on the bike and breaking down and ending up stranded. Now, I've never had to ring breakdown cover for my bikes. I have with various cars, but so far not with my bikes. Let's just pull over for a minute. Well, you're looking good, Lauren. No sign of leaking fuel, no smell of leaking fuel. Certainly not the absolute stench that we got last week when we broke down and all I could smell was fuel. There's no sign of it whatsoever. One thing that I find that I do want to do now, however, is I find myself wanting to carry tools with me. Nothing special, you know, something like this. Something that has Allen keys and screwdrivers and a couple of sockets for example, the rear tank bolt is an 8mm, but typically a lot of things are 10s, but 8s and 10s, maybe 9s for some of your clips, like your coolant clips and some of your other Jubilee style clips. So I feel like I need to have something like this with me now. And also I feel like, let me just put her ignition back on so her alarm doesn't go off. Given what happened and what I needed to fix it, I feel like I constantly now need to have a couple of cable ties with me, because of course we did make it home last week following that breakdown, but we did so on the strength of 2 cable ties. And I believe I will be okay carrying around a multi-tool and a couple of cable ties. After all, I do typically tend to ride fairly local to where I live, so if I am ever unfortunate enough to have to call breakdown recovery, I'm still not going to be that far away from home. If I was going further afield, for example if I was on a trip to London, then yes, I'd probably want to take some more tools just in case. And on the subject of London, there was a London trip this year. I missed out on it. I had the opportunity to take my 125 to London. In fact, I could have taken either of my bikes to London, but unfortunately I missed out. Day's Day Out took his 125 and a handful of other bikers. I believe they mostly took 125s actually, and it still interests me. Fortunately, he's going to recreate the trip next year, so with a little bit of luck I'll be able to get on that. But although I missed that trip to London, I can still experience the trip to London on a 125, because Day's Day Out has a video live. In fact, it's the first in a series of videos that is now live on his channel. So if, like me, you're wondering what it's like to take a 125 all the way to London, which is about 200 miles from where I live, head over to Day's Day Out and check out the first in a series of videos all about the London trip.